bad? You know, what's wrong? Thumbs up, thumbs down, you know, some reaction, please.
Aww.
Yeah, but thumbs up doesn't mean you can't sign language. Just give me a thumbs up so I know you're okay. Oh, okay. That's what. Okay, that's okay. Fair enough. Okay, I was fully expecting him to give me the finger, to be honest. But that's all right. Fair play.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I told Pat to come into the call, and he said he is a man and can only do one thing at a time. So I don't know if he's aware that Corey's not bothered about Skype at the minute. But...
Oh, is Pat on the toilet? Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
I mean, if he is, then that's like, yeah.
Should we get started and then?
Yeah.
He can add some commentary when he wishes.
Okay, so let's do this then. So we're supposed to go. So, why did you choose this film?
Why? Just why?
What was pain and suffering? This film, while it is very unique and it's shit. It's pretty shit. It always has been, and I think most of it is intentionally so. It's been a favorite of mine for, I don't know, a really long time. I'm a big fan of really crappy horror movies, gothic film in general, and yeah, I think it's a great little terrible film. It makes me happy.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. I have my own films that are kind of crappy and stuff that I like. I mean, I kind of liked Fire vs. Five. Actually, did you like our crappy films choices that we've made?
You know, Simon's films. Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, yeah. Fire vs. Five. Did you like Tokyo Gore Police? Is the question, right?
I did not watch Tokyo Gore Police.
Oh, okay.
He usually watches the films and then tells me if I would like them or not, and then I watch them.
I feel like if you chose this film because you genuinely liked it, you might like Tokyo Gore Police to a certain point. You're shaking your head, but I don't know.
I have a very specific genre of terrible film that I like. So I think really bad 80s horror films. That's usually where I'm at, and this reminds me of that a lot. But obviously,
to be fair, there was a lot of SFX stuff in it. So Dan and Coral really like it. So you might like it from that angle, I guess.
What was the angle you specifically didn't want me to watch it?
It's just the worst film in the world. I don't. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, I know we just saw Trap today, but that is. It was just kind of an omni shambles.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I said last week, I think for our guests, I don't want to give them the wrong impression that we're watching a masterpiece every week. I think it's important. We got to temper a bit of that. So.
And this was definitely the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I got to say, I was very surprised with you. You really like your schlock.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like musicals, and this is not okay. Let me just I like musicals, right? I generally do, but this is not
musical.
This is it's music usually from these sort of films have usually at least one song that was catchy.
I can't remember. A little glass vial.
A little glass vial.
A little glass vial.
That's
okay. Now, okay. Yeah, okay. No. Okay. It makes me groan to a certain point, right? And it's not. And oh Christ. Okay, it's supposed to. Usually, when they do these films, they usually have the music convey emotion. The emotion is just
suffering.
Pain. Yeah, but I don't know if that's on purpose. It's
so. This was originally an actual opera that they got turned into a film.
Yeah.
So
wait. I think I remember. I did some research on it. It was an opera in 2002.
Yeah.
Short music video or film in like 2004. Then it's this film, but then afterwards there's like another movie called Repo
Carnival?
Man.
Oh no,
No,
Repo Man's got nothing to do with this though.
It doesn't, but it's okay. That's yeah, but you get why I would think that, right? It's called Repo Man. Okay,
No,
and I
they
thought,
did
oh right,
a secondary to this, and it's the it's called like the Great Carnival or something, and then they did a second to that. But the Great Carnival is like a short film, and then they did a full length second film. But it's like all the same people, same director, and same terribleness.
So there's a sequel to this.
Kind of. It's not. I don't really know how to explain it. It's
A spiritual sequel.
yeah, kind of.
Okay, that's fine. I guess like,
but it's supposed to be from like kind of the same world and just same bad all roundness.
okay, so bad. The bad sequel movies, that's going to be on the same list as my Titanic 2 list. Okay, cool.
Really? Titanic 2. And then, there's a musical of Titanic as well, if you didn't.
Yeah, but the Titanic 2 movie, I remember I told you guys this, the Titanic 2 movie is called Titanic 2 Glacial Drift. And it's just got the stupidest name. And it's just like, it's such a... It's a terrible concept for a film, but it's just like it exists, and I know it exists because I've seen it, right? And so I just know like I won't choose it until like I really, really feel like being an absolute menace. But like that's another level before we get to that. But
we'll just take this opportunity to say we haven't had Titanic 1 yet, so it is up for grabs.
Yeah, that's
your choice. But
Titanic,
anyway.
Titanic 3 Revengeance.
but before I continue on, we should get everyone else to give you the intros.
Yeah, what did everyone think? Just short Tracy.
Darling.
No, come on.
Go.
In the Discord chat was brilliant, by the way. I couldn't have described it better myself.
Should I go first?
I think you summed it up very well. So I think.
Oh yeah, it's not good. It's a bizarre curio of a movie. Like, as bad as it is, I can see why. No offense, Ebony. Why someone like you would be drawn to it, because you haven't got anything else that's like it when it came out.
Yeah.
To a point,
very unique and very on brand for
it's
the
like
emo phase.
Yeah, it's like you hadn't got anything else, and you got this thing of a movie where it's kind of like it ticks all these boxes, but at the same time it's kind of like very like amateurish to a point. You can imagine like it being done on like a secondary school, high school kind of like production, and this is the filmed version of that. I can see that being a thing. And I kind of like, weirdly enough, I kind of like the premise of it. I like the idea of the concept. Overall, the concept is quite interesting. Like the old idea of repossessing your organs once you've signed a contract to kind of like, I want to live the life I want to live. But every organ I have is kind of like in something the government could take back at any moment. That's quite a scary but interesting idea. Whether or not it's a good idea to make that into a musical remains to be seen. But maybe it's because Anthony Head was in it, and I kind of like grew up with musicals, and in my household like musicals were a thing and we all just loved them, and I loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who Anthony Head was in, and the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer was one of my favorites.
Which is also
I wish it was more like
right though.
yeah, but at the same time I wish it was more like that, because that had so much like vigor and like originality, and the luster in that was so good because it all compressed in like 20, 30, or was it 40 minutes per episode? I can't remember. Yeah. But it kind of was trying to do that, but it wasn't as successful. So it's a weird one because it's kind of like I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the audience that was into like the vampire movies of the late noughties. Like obviously, the Interview with Vampire spawned all a load of crazy vampire sequels and spin-offs and rip-offs, as Simon would point out. But like obviously, if you guys have seen the Queen of the Damned movie, that's kind of a similar kind of vibe to this in terms of like these kind of like edgy, very like broken and tormented characters in that are kind of similar to this. They've got their own demons. They're doing this and that, and they've kind of got their own inner monologue going on in their heads. So this was kind of like a mystical interpretation of what's going on in these crazy heads of these vampire type characters. And obviously they're not vampires in this, but it had the same sort of vibe. And had
the whole film. I really wonder. That'd be so good if Ben thought they were vampires throughout the whole thing.
But yeah, like, you know the guy, you know the vile guy. What was his name? You know the one we first meet, the one with long hair. He could easily
Grave Robber.
Yeah, the Grave Robber dude. He could easily be a vampire, and it wouldn't make any difference to the film at all, and it would still work. And it just like but yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a weird mix of Phantom of the Opera with a little bit of what should I say? It's just got this kind of. It's trying to be this kind of weird, quirky, unique thing, but the thing that obviously drags it down is kind of like all the well, a lot of things, but you know, kind of all the exposition done in those comic book cutaways. It's kind of like, wait, are we watching like a video game cutscene?
I was about to say I like those because it reminds me of video games. It's like, oh yeah, it was like, oh yeah, it's a cutscene. All right, yeah. So then afterwards we actually get back into the game, right? Yeah. Exposition comic.
Yeah, I think it was trying to do something that was like very poorly in no way like up to scratch, but you know, like Sin City and like
I
feel like it was very much trying to get that, but on the side of like the weird macabre, like purposely low budget like 80s films. Like I think because they pulled like a lot of like obviously it's got like I don't want to say like huge cast, but obviously that cast you recognize a lot of people from a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the guy who played Rotty.
Buffy, fucking
Rotty's from Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a fairly decent cast, so you know that they didn't have like a crazy small budget. And like as far as like the costumes and the makeup and like the sets go, if you look past the awful singing and bad story, it's actually really well set up and really well like funded.
Okay.
And then almost purposely made to look fucking disgraceful. With lighting and sound and acting, and because like you know a lot of those actors are good actors, yet they are.
Yeah, they are.
I felt really bad because it was just kind of it was having the Rotty Largo character, and like he's having to do a lot of his dialogue, but he's like sing talking, and he's clearly like not built for it. So
he knew what he's signed up for. But yeah, it's kind of like it kind of knows what kind of film it is, so I give it that, and it's just kind of it's like dragged through the mud because of obviously the costs of how the production and the budget, and it's like the CGI was so bad, and obviously for that era, obviously give or take, it was just worse than it probably deserved to have. So I think if a better team were behind it and brought this to life, it probably could have been better than it was. But because everyone was kind of like just like on the shoestring budget, it was the era it was in. They were trying to just make something work in a very, very short space of time. It's kind of like, this is what you get when you just don't do a pass on the draft of the script. It's kind of like this is the second draft of the script, and they just went through that, and it's kind of like, that's good enough. Let's just use it.
I think it's a direction problem.
I think just that though. I think it was a bit of a marketing problem. I think the way that they tried to market it was like it was a film, like for everybody, and it was very much supposed to be for a specific audience, that underground grimy, people that appreciate, like, that Rocky Horror Picture Show that made it huge somehow. It really shouldn't have. It's, it's also pretty bad, but it has a really unique cult following. And this also could have, and it does a bit, but it's a lot rarer because I feel like instead of trying to release it as an actual, like, big-ish film, they should have done a more underground, like, release for it. Like, because I know plenty of films that got aired at, like, gothic nightclubs and stuff when I was growing up and stuff like that, and everybody loves them. Not that many people know about this film.
Right.
So, yeah, I think they went the wrong way about it.
Yeah, Rocky Horror is a good example because, that's one of the ones I mentioned. It's kind of like it's trying to kind of get the zeitgeist and the vibe of that in the late 2000s kind of the equivalent of. But Rocky Horror is the first to ever do it. Like, it was. So that's why Rocky Horror gets a pass, because it was like, let's just earnestly make this weird, strange, quirky musical. Nothing's ever been done like it before, literally. So, and then they make it the best they can. And in this case, it's kind of like it's coming after that. It's coming after all the kind of like all the very cult movies that were inspired by Rocky Horror. So it's riding on the coattails to an extent, but it's also trying to do its own thing at the same time. So it's just like, you like this, we're going to do a slightly different version just to appeal for these people. And it's kind of like, this is what we're aiming for. But it doesn't quite hit those marks that it really wanted to.
I think no matter how bad or good you think Rocky Horror is, the songs are excellent. Like, really good vocals, really good tunes. If this had somebody that could actually write music and everyone could sing, it would have been really, really good. But, like, I think Simon said, the songs aren't that catchy unless you really into it.
17.
Joan Jett was in it, for fuck's sake, and she's excellent. And then they put her singing really badly in front of her, and I was like, they should have got Joan Jett to sing half of it. It would have been great.
So, Corey, you were pretty kind to
it.
Yeah, I was surprised. Dead
I'm
surprised.
Canadian. It's what I gotta do. Yeah, so let's see. My expectations going into this were very low. So that can actually work out, for a film like this. I and myself in musicals, like, it's really hit and miss. I'm really picky about the music, and singing dialogue really is super cringy to me. So this film had a lot going against it for me. And I know what it was going for, and I know it, so that's why it was just really hard for me to really try to see the genuine, like, better parts, because it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, honestly. I was, maybe because of my such low expectations going in. Like, like, it's right, like, some of the acting is, like, not that bad. I mean, the packaging really got in the way for me. So it's just like, I'm like trying to find the, like, good in it, and there is some good. Like, it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
I should put down
Sounding review, yeah, could have been worse.
Like, and like when I and with the hard work of trying to find the nugget of goodness and the nuggets of goodness in this, like, like the issues it brought up, like, like privatization of healthcare and, like, plastic surgery, and I liked the drama, but with the, like, the romance and, like, the family, and it's like some, like, good foundational stuff in here. But I still, like, I like, my enjoyment score was still quite low considering all that. It's just not my cup of tea.
That is, I think I'm the only one who enjoys this film. So
I'm glad someone did.
Pat's just opened a beer, so I don't know if he wants to weigh in on that.
But yeah, and like some of the there was like one or two songs where, like, okay, not bad, but it's just like, yeah.
The songs get gradually worse as they go on, don't they? They start out okay, like, you're like, oh, I can get a vibe in this somewhere, and then it just crashes and burns.
I did say this at the beginning. I was like, that 70 minutes, like, it's pretty bad. But then, like, that last 20 just sort of just shits itself and dies on its ass. Like, just please end.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
glad to have it all over, but it's and like a good cringe fest. I don't know if I would call this good actually, but it's different.
Another cringe to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. That's what we can say. That's 100% what we can say.
That's fair.
I'm so curious as to why Camilla gave it a 4 for story. She is wondering.
Oh, really? I haven't actually seen the scores yet. Who
Oh,
gave it the highest?
Hmm?
Who was the highest out of all of us?
Actually, it was tied between Eb and Corey.
Oh, well, despite all that.
No one saw that coming.
At the moment, I put in as an 8 because, like I said, I love this film. Like,
It's the one little nugget of
yeah,
green
and
in
then
the sea.
but I was like, story is a 1. Like I thought, but then I think like production. Like I'm not even because I was half and half about production because I think it depends on whether because it's like a fully sung film and there's no dialogue other than singing. I would put that in as story, like the singing itself, I guess. But then if you put that in production, because production for me, like the costumes, like I said, once you can look past the really bad lighting of it and like the way they washed it all out,
And
the costumes are actually really fantastic. The makeup's really fantastic. The sets are really fantastic. And like, you know what I mean? So I find it hard to put down production that much. But then I guess, yeah, depends whether you had the sing because the singing was dreadful. Most of the songs were dreadful. But it holds a special little gothic nugget in my heart, I think. So. Gugget, yeah.
So Camilla, I was just saying, I was surprised you gave it a 4 for story.
I really liked the premise. I thought the concept of well, Ben was saying it as well. Sorry, I went up to make a cup of tea. I didn't hear what was said after that. But the premise that like there's someone who repos your organs because you didn't pay or whatever reason. I thought that premise was really good, and I think maybe some of what's actually going on in the story gets lost because the singing is so ridiculous and it's all a bit like over the top. It's kind of taking the mick out of itself. But it's actually got a lot of kind of decent things going on. Like the whole thing with the who's going to take over the family business kept making me think of a Shakespeare play. I want to say King Lear, but I don't know. And then like the showdown on the stage when the audience doesn't know, is it real or is it not real? Like, is it part of the play or is it not part of the play? All of that reminded me of Moulin Rouge. And I just thought some of the bits were decent. When I was watching it, I did think that I thought about how I was nostalgic for that era of film club when I would watch the first 10 minutes with Emmanuel and be like, nah, and then go and do something different. And I have to soldier through this. I thought, as I say, the premise is decent. I think it's probably just not my vibe because I get what I was saying about kind of it's made for a specific group of people, and if you're into that kind of thing, then it's kind of your cup of tea. But it's just not for me, and it definitely gave me it's the way that like the visuals were edited, like with the kind of glowiness to it all. It kind of made me think of like someone's media studies project. That's the vibe it gave me all the way through. So I didn't think it was very good, but I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. Like, I wasn't expecting a story that made any sense. I wasn't expecting anyone to be able to actually be able to sing, except from Alexa Vega, because I know she can sing. Yeah, it wasn't as bad.
I think I'd love to see somebody do this. Like, I don't want to say professionally because obviously they are professionals, but you know what I mean? Like, to see somebody take everything from this and do it like they were really trying to make a good film.
Yes.
Like, yeah, but like refine all the songs and like the acting and all that kind of stuff, and just do the same premise, the same darkness and everything, but done well. Like,
Yeah.
So did you have to make Emmanuel sort of like Clockwork Orange it a bit?
Yeah.
Like, did you have to kind of like just duct tape him to a post and just like watch it?
Watched it with no complaints. Because he can't talk, he was
Can't speak.
That explains that.
I mean, he's not he's not being vocal about his displeasure, I suppose.
he has
Oh,
no.
It's like Deadpool from Deadpool Wolverine Origins, you know, that version of Deadpool that can't speak with no mouth. I'm in pure agony, but I can't say anything. It's just
Right there, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got like that proper 1,000-yard stairs, and it's perfect.
He's seen some shit.
Anyways, Pat, if you're with us, how did you find the film?
Why'd you do this to me?
I knew out of everyone you would love the most, Pat. I chose it for you. I know how much you love musicals. I know how much you love great singing and acting.
I mean, I'm very much like Emmanuel, where if a film is bad, we don't react that well to it. But this film was that bad that I had a migraine.
Cool.
I hated every second of it.
That makes me so happy.
What's an Antichrist?
Yes.
Wow.
In a completely different way. Like, Antichrist just had no reason to exist. Written and directed by complete hacks. Like this one, I guess, but they intended this one to be that bad, which makes it so much worse.
There weren't any Rusty Scissors, though.
I mean, I've seen enough musicals to like. I know that there's enough dialogue. This had no dialogue. It was just singing the whole way through. It was too much, and the music was shit. The singing was shit. I probably would have given it more points on production, because the set is actually pretty decent, but because everything else is so shit, it went to 1.
Oh, okay.
Shit by association.
Acting might be some of the worst I've ever seen, and I've seen some pretty bad ones. Yeah, it was. Alec will tell you, like, anytime I see a bad film, I think it's a waste of time because I just don't like bad films. This was an absolute waste of time. I was glad I woke up early so I could do something else with my day.
That's pretty good. Well,
I watched this at 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning. As soon as it ended, I went for a 3-mile walk.
Yeah.
So I suppose if you want me to get fit, put me in front of a bad film in the morning and I'll just walk it off.
I have so many more bad films that you could watch if you ever want to go through.
I've got to deal with Simon's as well.
yeah, I mean, like,
Right, if we're doing this, no more bad movie round, like, ever.
oh, that's a hard ask, right? We've got to balance that out first. We'll see how it goes.
I'm
And I mean, I know I pick films that, like, some people will find like, oh, this is a piece of shit, but like, yeah. But like, the director had done like 4 of the Saw films, and like I was saying to Alec earlier, like, the most recent one was hot garbage, so I could see the how it was similar to this. Like, you could tell it was the same director. But like, he did Saw 2, Saw 3, and Saw 4. Saw 2 is one of my favourite of the franchise. So
My favourite as well, yeah.
yeah. Saw 3, I think, went a bit too much into the really bits, and then Saw 4 was
It went too far into somebody else's life and too far into like his past.
I just think of the torture rack and their whole ankle being turned, and you see the bone come out of your leg. I was like, "Bleh." No.
Nice.
And this is someone who watches slashers, used to watch slashers for like fun.
They are fun.
It's grim as fuck, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of the second Saw, but after that, it gets a bit.
First
two are my favourites. There's a couple of decent ones spread in, and then the most recent one that came out last year was really good. But yeah, most of them are your typical sort of long slasher franchises. You have some good ones and then some absolutely hopeless ones.
I wouldn't say Saw is like a slasher though. I'd say it's like a torture porn. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
Could say
Slashers are a
psychological
lot more
horror.
like stalking and stabbing.
Yeah, you're probably right. Demented horror for people with demented imaginations, which I suppose I tend to have at times.
You're just on a little
Mate, I just picture Jigsaw as me when I was serving customers in Smith's.
Well,
and I can mention them now because I'm no longer associated with that shit place.
I think of happy children buying toys. I think of the film Saw.
well, I mean, like, if you work customer service or retail, yeah, it's kind of, I get 100%. Yeah, I see your point. It's absolutely, guys. I could just fucking kill this fucker right now. But I mean, but you've got a smile while you're just handing them the change. Yeah, it's absolutely perfect, yeah.
Usually that's me when I'm having an argument with the customer because I wouldn't give them the extra 10p off.
Yeah. Had that before as well. Yeah, so,
yeah.
Okay.
So that's how my mind works sometimes.
Yeah. No. I might be Jigsaw before Pat does. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it's.
Oh, don't pick that one. Don't pick the one that this director did. That was terrible. I didn't even finish that one.
No, I mean, like, if looking at like, if you want to like Saw movies, the first one is actually quite ingenious for what it was.
Yeah, that's a class film.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, that I would say is quite a cult classic because the originality of it was quite ingenious. But that's like compared to this film where it's like, I don't know, because like looking at this film and looking at the actors there, it's like, I don't know about Paris Hilton being. I didn't realise it was Paris Hilton for a good solid first time I saw like her.
That was part of the migraine. I was sat there and I was like, I was like, I know who this person is, but I can't put my finger on it. I was like, she's very familiar.
Yeah, it took me a hot minute. I was like, but afterwards it was like, I don't know, her third or maybe fourth costume change to go. Oh, right, that's her. Right,
is it when her face falls off and you go? Oh,
no. It was before that, admittedly. But when her face falls off, that was like, but like, it took her a while. I think it was like during like, when she disappears from like the stage and she has to go find more drugs, and like. Oh that is it, because every time it's like she's got all her makeup and sunglasses and everything off, and you just can't see her face. I guess is probably it.
Yeah. It's
so
a lot of crazy makeup for.
It's a weird quirk of yours that like your two favourite films both have Paris Hilton in it.
Yeah, but she also gets like mauled in both films.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa! What's your other favourite film that has Paris Hilton in it?
House of Wax. It's my favorite horror film of all time. And
actually, that's not too bad. I can't.
I remember watching. That's not like
through the head, and he stands on her head while he like films it and everything, and it's
it's
that one.
Yeah.
I like the original more than that one. House of Wax.
I love that. Such a good film.
Yes, it is.
Again, that was another one that was like, So obviously nothing like this bad wise, but it is quite like a shitty horror film or whatever. But it had quite a big cast in it and quite like a big budget, and then didn't do great. It was like what, I had Chad Michael Murray starring in it, and he was at the height of his like teen heartthrob era.
Yeah. Okay.
One Tree Hill.
Oh right.
Yeah. He was doing films with like Hilary Duff and stuff while he made that.
Hilary Duff and stuff.
But yeah, again, it's just like a horror movie trait where they manage to get big actors to do these bad films that
It's the
end
guy
up getting a
from
cult classic.
Supernatural.
Yeah, Jared Padalecki.
Yeah.
Everyone's clocked out.
Everyone has clocked out.
Talking about teen heartthrobs, and they're like,
A little bit. I did just want to say, like, sorry, I just want to read out what Emmanuel said, just for, like, posterity. In general, I wish it was done well. It had potential, but like people said, they purposely weren't trying to make it good. Like, the music should be right up Emmanuel Street, but the vocals, and then cry face.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like, the vibe is like, kind of in my ballpark as well, but it doesn't work. It's just like, it comes close to it, but it's like, it's not executed well enough to be good.
I was trying to do what Corey was doing, where I was trying to like pick out like stuff that was like actually good, and I was like quite impressed with Giles, because I was kind of like, hey, you know, just on like kind of like a base sort of level, he is a character with a lot of guilt about him, and he's had to kind of you know, become a repo man sort of thing to like just provide for his daughter. And like it's there's obviously like kind of like a persona that comes with the repo man, and I was just like, yeah, like having a like compartmentalization kind of thing going on, because he's such a guilty character, and like he's hiding something from himself, where like he's actually the person making Shiloh ill. I was like, yeah, there's a like a fair amount going on there. Well, that's pretty good. Sadly, it manifests as Giles does a nasty voice when he's in the Repo Man, so he does a gentle voice. He just goes, "Oh God, I'm doing the nasty voice," and then he goes, "I'm doing the nice voice now." It sounds terrible.
It's not subtle.
It sounds goofy as fuck. But I was like, it's that you know that it is there. Like it's.
Yeah, saying that it kind of has, it's trying to do the Sweeney Todd thing, but not succeeding. It's like he wants to be this like avenging angel kind of thing, and I can get what they're kind of going for, because that's kind of like what the premise of Sweeney Todd is that he's trying to make amends and get revenge, and obviously kind of like getting good books with his daughter again and stuff like that. So it's all of the similarities are there, but it's just like the performance isn't quite isn't very good at all in terms of what you'd expect to see. It's like Anthony Head has it in him to be like a really good like protagonist with like tortured like psyche about his life and who he is as he is now versus who he was and what they did to his daughter, but he doesn't know that kind of thing. There's all of that. It's all there. All the ingredients are there, but it's all just mixed wrong. If that makes sense.
It's like having like a really nice roast and then wrapping it in Spam. Like it's just like, it's got all the good bones for it, and then they just
Spam to death.
Yeah, Spam to duck.
Yeah, like the acting, like it was hard to really determine like how much I liked the acting because of the acting style, and like the whole is just really, that was a hard one. This was a hard one for me to score. It took a lot of thought. Yeah.
It was hard for me to score because I have so much like nostalgia about it, and I know it's shit, but that's kind of why I like it. So I had to really kind of sit there and be like, well, I enjoy it like massively, but it is terrible. But then they did a lot of stuff right, just in bad packaging, I guess. So
I think where it's got quite an operatic like thing by nature, like, and they're kind of having to do like a very exaggerated acting style. Like watching that in like a cinematic way kind of just makes it's just like auto cringe. You're just like, oh, God,
like you imagine watching this as like a live opera, it would be 10 times better already just because of the drama that you have to have on a live stage is exactly what they did, but you don't put that in cinema. That's kind of the point. It makes it off, doesn't it? Like,
That's the thing. I was thinking, like, so I really like the whole corrupt family kind of thing, like just like a general sort of trope to do, and it's Luigi's character where I was like, God, like the fact you're doing this so exaggeratedly is just really putting me off you, and it obviously that's kind of the point.
But then you have Pavi, who's just like even more weirder, but he manages to pull it off really well because it's just creepy. And then Luigi's just really overly acting, but Pavi's supposed to be like creepy.
Yeah. It doesn't lend itself well to it.
Yeah, I think like similar to what I think Ebony said, if it was redone in a different style, I think what got in the way most for me was like the constant like amateurish tone and it just like was too much. You know, like myself, like I could be a fan of musicals and I could be a fan of just like really like dramatic, like crazy vibes. But it's just like it's just the way it's done and packaged that is what's gonna make it work for me. And yeah, so
and to put them both together, like you can have crazy styles and everything, and you can have kind of over the top musicals. To then put those two together and package it all in one and make you sit there and watch the whole thing like it's supposed to be.
Camilla brought up Moulin Rouge. That's Baz Luhrmann, right? Yeah, like I think if his style were to like be meshed with this premise and creative idea, I think that would really work for me. I liked that.
That's good. Alec is a massive.
Please don't pick Moulin Rouge. Please don't.
You don't like Moulin Rouge?
Such a hard on.
I think if that gets picked, I'm taking a 2-week sabbatical. I hate that film.
Wait, but you like musicals, and like as a musical, it's not too bad actually.
I wouldn't say
musical taste is weird.
Yeah.
As soon as you said Moulin Rouge, I could see him moving. Please don't.
It's the Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge was mentioned once earlier and once again now, and I had to twitch each time.
I really like it. I think there was a time Rob was staying in my house at, like near the tail end of uni, and there was one time where I watched it like twice in one day, and he was like, "Why do you keep watching it?" And I was like, "I don't know, I just really like it."
Well, I said I didn't like it, and you made me watch it.
And you didn't like it anymore.
I still don't like it. I don't mind it. I just.
I get it.
It's catchy in its own sort of way, right? Let's just say it's okay. If we could just agree it's kind of catchy, and like if we do choose it, we'll give Pat a good like heads up just in case.
But I also don't like Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
But like Sweeney Todd, it really depends on like I mean, it really depends on like if you really like Johnny Depp or not, right? I guess it's because like if it really.
That's the thing. I am a big fan of Johnny Depp. I also think that the film, obviously I know it's written as a musical and BBC did a non-musical version of it, which was garbage. But I do think if they had made that specific film with Tim Burton, but without the musical, I think it probably would have been one of his best films. But the music,
if they hadn't have done it as a full singing musical, if there'd been dialogue songs in it, it would have been so much better. Because I love the style of Tim Burton, but I think his writing's a bit rubbish. So, like, there should be everything. Because I like Sweeney Todd, like the original story, but then they just sang. I don't usually, other than this, like ones that are all singing. Like, I don't like Les Mis. I don't like.
I think there needs to be someone in Hollywood every time that a director goes, "Why don't we have them sing talk it?" He should just come in and just go, no, it's never worked. No one likes it. Don't know.
People do, but it did obviously was a musical on Broadway for like 20 years before they made the film.
Yeah,
that's the difference. So like, I was a big fan of that story anyway, because Stephen Sondheim is one of my favorite musicians, composers, writers, lyricists ever. He's like the Spielberg, Scorsese of that genre. And so, yeah, that's why I love Sweeney Todd, because the music is so damn good. I
love the songs in Sweeney Todd. So, like, if you listen to, like, the album from it, excellent. but it's just the missing a breath in between. I feel like you lose a lot of story by singing because they don't. It's not all songs; they just sing things.
There is a lot of narrative. But that's interesting you say that, because I don't like the Les Mis version of the musical either, because it is literally all dialogue. I stole a loaf of bread, kind of thing.
Les Mis is the most overrated film.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical style. Maybe that's the thing. I'm maybe a bit of a snob in terms of musicals anyway, because I'm like, Stone Time, one of the best. Andrew Lloyd Webber, not a fan. Well, but it's just how it is for me.
I only watched that because I'm a fan of Hugh Jackman, which stems from him playing Wolverine. So I was like, oh, this seems like it'd be all right.
And he's a good singer.
Yeah, to be fair, Russell Crowe's a decent singer as well, but I felt the film was so up itself.
It was very, I know what you mean. It was self-indulgent.
Every time I'm in Leicester Square and I see the building that the show is played in, I want to pick up a brick and throw it through a window.
Jesus.
You're very violent today, Patrick.
Yeah, that's like...
Musicals bring out the worst in me.
I mean, okay, so how are you for Phantom of the Opera then?
Never seen
it.
Would
take that.
Really? Damn, that's actually a pretty good one, I think.
Have you ever seen the live Phantom of the Opera?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they drop the chandelier, that's like the best thing ever. And watching it on stage is so different than watching it by film. Same with most musicals though.
Yeah, true.
So it's
live musicals are a different thing.
Singing, yeah.
But Pat's not a fan of the musical genre anyway, so
my favourite musical is probably Rock of Ages, so that tells you.
That is so good though.
I've seen that.
To be fair, Ben, I think there's a good 50% of, maybe 45% of the musicals he's seen through Film Club he has come away liking.
That's a fair point.
But there is so many musicals.
Yeah, Pat doesn't like the good musicals.
Oh well, I don't know, mate.
They do provoke violent rages.
Yeah.
There was another one that came out a couple of years ago with Emma Stone in it. That was terrible.
La La Land.
I watched that one.
I've watched that so many times now, and I still can't decide if I like it. Something that really irks me about it, but I can't put my finger on it. But then there's something I kind of love about it.
I so like Damien Chazelle. I'm a big fan of that one too.
Yeah.
You can tell.
It worked for me.
You can tell I'm not a musicals fan when I like Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
I mean, Mamma Mia is catching its own way, right? It's kind of like what's the new musical that was coming out was Wicked, right? I don't know because watch Wicked.
That film looks dreadful, but I want to see the stage show because I've heard the stage show is brilliant.
Stage show is pretty good, but so I have very low expectations when I go to watch the movie. It's I'll go watch it and be like, stage show is definitely better. It's just
I know Rob won't watch it because Ariana Grande's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame me one bit.
Your friend doesn't like her either.
No.
Yeah,
actually, and what I didn't, Ebony, you said you couldn't put your finger on why you didn't like La La Land. For me, it was I liked it despite Emma Stone. I'm not a big fan of hers.
The only thing I ever liked her in was Easy A. I don't know if anyone ever watched that, but that was the only thing
I really like that film.
It's supposed to be dorky and uncomfortable, and it works for that. But everything else, I still find
I really like her. She had that film that come out early this year that me and Ben went to see. It was fucked up, but it was brilliant.
That was a cool one.
Was it Poor Things?
Yes.
Yeah, Poor Things.
It's probably one of my favorite. It's in my top 5 films of this year.
Yeah. That was a really fun one.
top 5 yet.
I think
we don't even have a top 5 at all. Every time we've gone to the cinema this year, we just come away going like that was.
One sec, Alec. Camilla wants to speak.
Oh, I was just saying La La Land that I have a love-hate relationship with it. And I think I don't like the story. I don't like Emma Stone in that movie specifically, but then I love the soundtrack and I think it's really beautifully done. I play the soundtrack all the time, but I've watched the film once and I can't quite bring myself to watch it a second time. Although it is a potential for film club because I was wanting to hear what everyone thought of it, but I guess I don't need to.
Done.
You see, that's what.
It would do well with me. Visually, it's perfectly shot as well.
Yeah, I would happily watch it again, of course. I think I'm a sucker for a good love story, and that's a sad one. I don't want to spoil it if anybody hasn't seen it. But
I haven't.
I just think that the style of the film is really beautiful, and like the music. Like if you like for me, if you watched it muted and just turned the sound back on every time a song came on, didn't listen to the dialogue, but the way it's shot is really beautiful.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's really beautiful, and then the rest is just a bit crap.
Yeah, I get that.
But I'm not a sucker for a good love story. So.
I mentioned The Greatest Showman and my headset just decided to stop working.
That's absolutely perfect. That makes perfect sense. As much as catchy as those songs were, the story and like the concept of the character behind it was just absolutely abysmal, horrible stuff. So
up until that call, I was like, oh, this is a nice little film with catchy music, and then Rob and Alec and Humphrey were like, oh.
yeah,
Still like it, but still.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, my fondness for that film has dwindled. But like you said, it's like the soundtrack I can kind of like I can enjoy as it is, but I've never wanted to watch the film again.
Same here.
It needs a lot of material for that one.
Yeah, I already knew about the story before The Greatest Showman came out because we'd actually done something on it at school when I was younger. So when I heard that film was coming out and I knew like all the terrible stuff he'd done, I was like, nope, nobody's enjoying this.
What was funny ahead of your pick was Ben made a joke saying, wouldn't it be funny if you picked Australia?
I hate that. If I was going to pick an Australian film, it'd be a good one, like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, or The Castle, or
oh yeah,
or I don't know,
Priscilla,
plenty of good ones that aren't Australia.
Well, did you guys know that Baz Luhrmann re-edited Australia as a miniseries?
Oh no!
So it's like the best version.
It's Ben's favourite.
Because it was way too long, just as like a whole. So as a miniseries, it might actually be more palatable.
It might be. Yeah, I haven't seen either properly, but yeah, I'm intrigued now.
Yeah.
I just remember we were at the pub and these guys are going like, "Oh, your girlfriend's Australian. Has she ever shown you Crocodile Dundee?" And the looks on their faces when they went, "A load of shit. I fucking hate Crocodile Dundee." And they're like, "No, you can't think that." And it was,
There's a guy at my work who is obsessed with Australia and Crocodile Dundee. It's his favourite film of all time. And
It's one of my favourite Australian ones.
But I just give him shit for it constantly, and he asks me like a million questions about Australia every day, and I just like knock him back each time. I'm like, no, that's crap. It doesn't exist. And he's like heartbroken every time he sees me.
I see you've played the game Knifey Spoony.
You think that's a knife?
Camilla,
This is a knife.
You think that's a spoon?
Camilla, do you remember the last thing you said? Because your mic cut out.
I think I was saying about Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
films
So
would be very. It's also on my list if no one else picks it.
you go right ahead. I think it's a fantastic film. Though. Super underrated. But
I already have.
pardon, sir?
Did they make? Oh, go Camilla, go first.
What was that?
Oh, you first. What did you say? I think I cut you out.
Oh, I said I have my favorite scene of that movie when he's on the bus.
Oh, yeah.
In the film talking about.
I was just going to ask because I think there was a stage play version of that, like that was playing in London for a short while. So I wasn't sure if that was also a musical or not, or was it just a stage play?
I think it is. It is kind. It's like there's musical numbers.
It's about drag
But it's
queens.
not
So
a music, like,
music.
they don't have each through song, but like they do musical performances through the film.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I wasn't sure. I thought it was like because the other thing that was playing on that theatre was like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So I wasn't sure if that was again. Is it a musical? Is it a stage play? Is it a bit of both? I was like, I mean, it could be both. It's like I wasn't sure. So if like never watched Priscilla, Queen of Z. I've heard good things. So if you do pick it, yeah, we'll give it a good go. And this is probably what it is.
I think Pat will definitely say, I don't usually like musicals, but I like that one.
Ooh.
Pat, do you like drag queens?
I mean, I used to like Lily Savage, if that counts.
Oh, sure, yeah. That counts. That's more than I thought.
Not for me.
I mean, I've been tempted to watch RuPaul, but
I think you'd really enjoy it.
well, the way Rob describes it, it does sound quite funny, but like
I'm sort of hard on for that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she didn't
like there's only one sort of reality type thing that I've watched in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, and that's Married at First Sight, just because it's really funny. But I generally don't watch that.
Handle?
No.
So I don't like reality TV whatsoever, and I hate those like dating ones. But there's one where basically they kind of do it like, what's the really popular one?
Love Island.
Love Island, where they get all the hottest people like onto this island, and then once they all get there, they all think it's going to be like Love Island, and then they say that nobody's allowed to have like sex, no one's allowed to kiss, no one's allowed to touch. Otherwise, every time someone touches, you lose money.
Oh.
But it doesn't tell you who did what, basically,
Yeah.
and you have to like kind of figure it out. So there's all these people that come in like basically like horny as hell, and yeah, and then they go right, and now you're not allowed to touch each other.
It's so
And it's just watching
funny.
everyone suffer.
I think the first season we watched it, there was like the main girl just kept shagging, and they were going like, "Is it you again?" No.
Yeah, because they lose like $1,000 every time or something
Yeah.
from like the pot.
Absolutely amazing television.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we? I fear that we have tangented off, and
Yeah.
Emmanuel's not even speaking to me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So actually, I will just say, Emmanuel said, I like Sweeney Todd and Moulin Rouge. Also, I think technically Scott Pilgrim versus the World is a musical, or just has quite a lot of music in it. Really like that film.
Fair.
Man, and I really like that film. I don't call it a musical, please.
Yeah, it's not really.
Everybody hates that one, actually.
I can't stand that film.
It's one of the few Michael Cera films I like.
Oh, super bad.
Superbad was good, but that was more about Jonah Hill
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking
and
that.
McLovin.
I like
Okay.
Juno's one of my all-time favorite films, so I can't go past that. He's so beautifully awkward in that film.
Right, I do apologise, guys, but I think it's time for favourite scenes. Or if you don't fancy doing that, we can do like least favourite scene.
I mean,
Oh, that's a good question.
like there's the favorite scene because it's kind of stupid because it was we'll talk about where he does his creepy Repo Man voice, but he does it when he's in front of his daughter and he's like, "Oh, I'll get my revenge." It's like, "What was that, Daddy?" "Oh, nothing, sweetheart." And it was just like, that's so fucking stupid. It was brilliant, but it was so fucking stupid. I was like, I don't know why I found that so funny, but it was just like, yeah, it was quite good. That's my favorite scene.
That is also a common thing it has with the first Saw as well, because there's the what's his name? Carrie Always on the phone, and he's going like, "You son of a bitch! I'll kill you! I'll kill everyone you know!" And then there's his wife on the phone, and he goes, "Owie." The director does seem to have a problem with that. Actually, no, he didn't do it. Oh, fuck.
Well, he was inspired by it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think my scene similar to that was when obviously you see Anthony Head's Repo Man actually torture and sing about the torturing of his victim that's like strapped against the wall and is like tied up, and he's tied up on the thing, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna rip your guts out and I'm just gonna make it." And he's just like but it's both of their acting is just, especially the guy that's being tortured, is just like he's not even trying. He's just standing there, just being shouted at or sung at.
Use him as a puppet.
That's it. That was just like, oh, what's going on? It's like, what kind of like laughing at the absurdity of it all, but he's still kind of like transfixed by it. So that's one thing about the film I say is that it's about how weird and bad it is. I can't take my eyes off it. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And that scene is like the perfect example.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll quickly, like, dang it, you took my favorite scene. So, like,
No, there's so many.
I'll explain why I like that in more detail, and then I had another favorite moment, I guess you could say. I don't know if it's the whole thing. But yeah, that when that scene came up when he was like had this guy strapped up, and it was like, gory, like ugly stuff, but it wasn't. It was more like the rest of the film, and I've seen stuff like that before. But when he like stuck his hand up and like did the puppet thing, I was like genuinely horrified. I didn't see that coming, and like I was like this. I was like, oh my god. And when he did
Yeah,
the
exactly.
go through, and there was the funny, like, high-pitched voice, I was, like, horrified and, like, very amused at the same time. It was just really, like, I was genuinely amused by that. That was really
Yeah, that's why it's one of my favorite bits. It's just like when he's just speaking as the puppet. It's like, it's like what kind of film are we watching here? It's like if it was more like this all the way through, I probably would enjoy it better because that absurdity of like going as far as you can made it more like, wait, what's that? You kind of like stopped and you just stood up in your seat watching this film. It's like, did he really do that? Oh yeah, he did it. And it's like, oh, this is messed up, but this is hilarious.
that was really well done. Like, it was just like, wow. And so that's what I thought about that scene. And then I really like, Ebony, you talked about how some of the like makeup and costuming was actually pretty good. And my favorite makeup was when it's the final scene for Blind Meg, and she was like, suspended from, and her just makeup was stunning, and like her eyelashes, and I was just like, and like the whole mood of the scenery, that all really worked for me. That I
So when I was at makeup school, I actually did one that was what do you call it? Like inspired by that Blind Mag one for my drag makeup that I had to do. So somebody did like a whole drag performance with the Blind Mag makeup and like costume. And then I did Amber Sweets when her face falls off. I did that as like another makeup thing. Like, yeah, when the whole face pops off in a little leader dress and everything. So yeah, I got a lot of good stuff from this for my exam.
You should send some photos of you. Do you have that?
I'll be on Instagram
Some-
somewhere.
yeah, that'd be cool to see. Awesome.
But yeah, I got a lot of inspo from Repo doing a lot of my exams.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, production value is not that bad. It's like it works in its own way. It's just because of the lighting and holograms and the style of it is just a bit off. I mean, I did like Blind Meg's actual, like, the design for when they made her eyes, where they kind of like opened up and closed up. You can actually see when they opened up, that's when the hologram came out. I was like, that's actually a nice little touch, because, like, it makes sense when you look at it, and it's like, that's good. Everything else is bad, but that, at least that's kind of a nice touch to be good. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Emmanuel also said my favourite scene is Blind Mag's operatic scene just before she gouges out her eyes. So, a lot of love for Mag.
Mag is actually an opera singer, by the way. So she came in for this to do the singing. Yeah. So they actually had a professional opera singer do her. Yeah. But she still wasn't that great in this. When you see her, it sounds awful. But she's a really good opera singer. Like, if you ever see any of her actual operas. And then she did this, and I was excited because and then there was like a few bits that were like quite screechy. I don't know if it's because they make her sound like a bit more like what's the word, like
Unhinged?
No, like robotic, because of her eyes obviously have that like cyborg-esque, and I think they give her voice like a bit of a tinge of like, yeah, like robots, I guess. But she's actually like a really, really decent singer, and yeah, so it's kind of a bit sad that they made her on the. I guess if they made her really good and everyone else was as terrible as they were, it really would have stood out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite scene?
Oh, mine's the Zydrate Comes in a little glass vial. So it's basically the whole introduction of like when you spend the most time with the grave robber, because he's my favorite character. But I love that song. I love that whole scenery of explaining.
That is the scene I think of when
Yeah.
I think of it.
Well, because when they do the whole thing, obviously it's about like consumerism and like what happens, like privatizing health and all that kind of stuff. But I like the bit where it just shows what happens to everyone else that can't really afford it. Drug addicts, like all that kind of stuff, and how they deal with it all. And I think it's a really catchy song. But my other favorite bit is that really tiny bit at the end where it shows that Amber Sweets takes over Jinko. And then so it says that she sold her face that fell off in her performance to charity. And then it says that Luigi killed the top three bidders. And then Pavi actually was the one that bought her face and proudly wears it for the rest of his days. So he's wearing his sister's face, and then her other brother killed everyone that tried to buy it. I just think that's brilliantly sums up that whole terrible family. Yeah. You have one?
No. There's. I do like the Psydrake comes in the glass vial stuff. Like that is the one that I'll kind of absently like just put on every now and then. And I think it's because Paris Hilton's so shit in it, and she's doing her acting voice, and it's like, oh god, this is grave robber, grave robber. And I'm like, yeah, acting. I think. The first time I laughed is when the doctor comes in and he tells Rotty Largo that he's got cancer and it's just got worse, and then like he goes right, and then the henchman just shoots him in the face. I just that was my first like laugh out loud sort of moment. But we do have a new favourite scene as of this evening. Eb had it on in the kitchen while she was cooking, and she'd made there was a little bit of mashed potato that had gone like missed in like one of the pans while I was washing it up, and I was like, what do we do with this? She's like, I'll get it in a box. So she had the box, and I upturned the pan that it was in to try and like get it out. It wasn't moving at all. So Eb went to just sort of scoop out with her finger, and then it just hit the box. The box flipped and it just went over the floor. But like the scene that was playing on her phone was like when Rotty Largo's having a go at Paris Hilton, and then he just starts descending into coughing fits, and
he sees her face and he's going, oh, this mashed potato is landed on the floor, and all you can hear is him going, oh, get it away from me, that's disgusting, you disgust me.
So we're just uncontrollably laughing, and then we just as it dies down, we're just hearing him just go. That's my new.
Yeah,
that's my new thing.
That's great.
Who hasn't gone yet?
I laughed when he just genuinely almost threw up coughing. A little. Yeah.
Gotta love that father-daughter bond. Idiot.
Who hasn't gone yet? Bottom three. 4.
I've not one. I found it really hard to think of a favourite scene.
Why is that?
I don't, oddly enough. But one of my favourite moments, it's not a specific scene, but it happens a few times, is how when it kind of goes into each character's backstory, it's done in a graphic novel comic kind of format. And I think that's just a really cool way of not taking you out of the mood of the film to kind of give you a bit of backstory, but also gives you some context for what's going on. So yeah, that's mine. It's not, as I say, it's not a scene, but it's a thing throughout.
Yeah, I like the comic bits. You don't like them though, do you?
No, I think the comic bits are a bit rubbishly done.
So I think they really go with the style of the film. The style of the film is rubbish. So
yeah.
But I think I like the comic stuff. I think it suits it.
Yeah, I think it works. I think it also adds to that kind of like that vague DIY feeling it's got, where it's like, well, someone's like drawn this because maybe they didn't have the time or the budget or they couldn't figure out how to work it into it. And it is a bit of a weird kind of segue, but also it fits nicely. And I think because the film doesn't take itself too seriously, I think it makes sense for it to be something that's a completely different vibe, but still kind of fits in with the story as a whole.
Yeah, it's like a big offset, but really just.
I think it's good for like splitting it up, you know, so it's not all just like the same. Like, you know, you it's waking your brain up a little bit and going like, oh, okay, like, it's not.
It's a reprieve.
Yeah, a little reprieve. You could look at our ugly ass set, or you could look at these ugly ass drawings instead.
Ugly ass.
The set was.
Fuck yourself. Pat,
Is that Patrick?
For as bad as this film was, it did have lovely credits.
Sweet, merciful, lovely credits.
I couldn't find a thing that I enjoyed about it, honestly.
Is there anything you hated the most?
Yeah, all of it. On equal measures. Don't know. You know when something is that bad that none of it stands out on a negative
Watch
scale?
it again and pick something.
I got to say, I do think that last 20 minutes goes on for about 100 years too long.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I think the first 50 minutes felt like 3 hours. The last bit went by fairly swiftly. So I suppose if you're going to say there's a good moment in it, it's probably that the second half of the film went by quicker than the first.
What were you going to say, Corey? I think you.
Yeah, I was gonna try to help him out because I remembered a particularly cringy part where I was just like, oh, like when what was her character? What was the daughter's name?
Amber Sweets?
Yeah.
Oh no, Shiloh.
Shiloh. Yeah, when she like.
How did you forget Shiloh? She's 17, Corey.
when she changed her outfit and like did this whole like rebellious teen daughter like number.
It's
awful. This is.
I could hear it.
Cringy for me.
That was one of those.
I was like, oh god, I hope I die.
Yeah, it's like teen rebellion. It's like, Dad sucks. I hate him. I hate my parents. It's just the worst. And it's like, oh god, yeah, that's what it was. It did remind me of like things of that era, as like rebelling against your teen. But teens rebelling against their parents, it's just the cliche version of that.
And he just had the biggest sigh of relief when it's just gone on a little bit longer, and then he just goes no and just slaps her. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I don't approve of like violence, but at that point I was like, I kind of get where it was coming from.
It was
It's like, I don't approve of violence, but you know.
Yeah, it's like, god damn it! What's wrong with her? I'm trying to do the best for her, and she's just like, "Is that my dad sucks?"
It's particularly frustrating though, because not only is it cringy, like 17, sweeter than 16, and like, you know, Dad, I hate you, all that kind of stuff, but it's also like a super random like song style for the rest of the film. Like you said, she gets a random costume change, a whole band's there, but Joan Jett is in the band. And she's excellent, and then they put her in the most shitty song you could have possibly been in.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
And then he just slaps her down, and you're like a bit relieved, and you're like, oh, yes, for child endangerment. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, the favorite part of that song is definitely the dancing skeleton in the background that has no like actual like use. It's just because the guy who's probably operating like the puppet is like this. It's like this is just doing this. But I was like, That's the most catchiest part of the song. It's the dancing skeleton. And the lady who plays the guitar. Yeah, but it's like this is like woo skeleton dance. it's like oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just that whole scene is like, is it all happening in her head or like in her mind? I get, but then her dad's obviously Anthony Head's just like in the background, just like he just cut to him and it's like he's just fed up, and he's just like he hasn't having to listen to everything that's going on. He's just like,
Well,
Dad's not, I roll and blah, blah, and it's like he's just like.
He's doing a good job because I'd be trying to just smash my way out of there anyway.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what's going on?
Though, like, because you assume that it is because obviously, like, a whole bunch of other people rock up, and that, like, you can almost like, I guess, think that she's saying it to him in like not a sung way, and that's how he's receiving it. But then that's a pretty harsh slap for her not jumping around the room and flipping him off and fucking inviting a whole band into the house.
Yeah,
like,
then it gets worrying. It's like, what's going on?
If it is in her head.
Actually, that's like part of the story that like it kind of soured it for me because near the end she's like really sad about her dad dying but I really started to like get a really bad impression of the dad because like he smacks her down. And the whole movie he's like trapping her. And then we learned that he's been poisoning her this whole time. It's just like, wow, he's trash. Like, he's like the worst.
Munchausen's by proxy, like, because of the guilt of killing her mother, which doesn't make any sense. I killed your mother, so I'm gonna poison you and keep you hostage. Yeah.
Well, when you look at the reason why he poisoned her, it's because he didn't test out any like it on an animal or something first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rotti Lago has someone just poison it like before. So he's just made it, and then they've gone, put some poison in. And he's just gone, that's fine, just directly to intervene. It's like, if you tried it on like a cat or something first, you'd see that they had the.
No, but he'd already experimented with the thing that he made for his wife, and he'd been perfecting it, and then Roddy tainted it. So he slipped something into it that killed her.
I thought he hadn't like. I thought he'd like.
No, he thought he made a mistake.
He thought he hadn't finished it.
Yeah, but he had.
Right.
So it would have saved her, but Roddy put something in it that killed her.
Right. These are the finer plot points.
Yeah.
That also it confused me because so Roddy managed to like guilt the dad into becoming a repo man because of that. But was it guilt or was like the dad really feel like he actually murdered the mom? Because it felt I feel like the story was saying that the dad thought he murdered his wife and it was an accident.
No,
no, because
he was experimenting on his wife to try find a cure for her blood disease.
Yeah.
Right, and he'd done it, so he found the cure, but then Roddy tainted or like put poison into it. So he thinks he killed his wife because he shouldn't have been experimenting. He should have taken her to a hospital. So he's a doctor, so he thought he could do it. He did do it. He tainted it, but that's not the only reason he became a repo man. It's because he needed. So he would have gone to prison otherwise, and Shiloh would have left. But then to be able to look after Shiloh, they said, we'll give you the funds to look after your daughter if you do a repo.
Wait, so he would have gone to prison for accidentally killing his wife?
Yeah, I mean, he should have, because it would have been like manslaughter. He shouldn't have done like medicine without like the license in this particular world where every sort of medicine is kind of like under gene code. It's like, you didn't do it with gene code's like permission. So, you've killed your wife. It's your fault. It's all that little like business. Then he has to put on his like Repo Man costume, which is, I don't know, something about that costume is just weird, right? I don't know how to explain it, especially because it's different from the poster. The poster for the Repo Man is like red and it's got like sort of like Russian writing, where this one is kind of like jet black and it kind of looks like Gestapo Batman. It's the best way to describe it. I don't know how to explain it. It just seems
like one of those clean-up gimp suits. I don't know if you've seen.
I've not had the pleasure. No.
No.
Yeah. It's not something on my typical radar. Sorry.
peanut ones that are specifically for like spillages.
Closing things down.
Yeah, and that's what they kind of look like.
Yeah.
No, that's a bit. That's out of my expertise. I've never seen a clean up gimp soup. Sorry,
Chinatown's right near Soho. You should go for a walk.
I avoid those stores purposely. I try to avoid those stores. It's just like another thing that I see.
Every time I go to London, I'm in Soho.
Yeah, but like when you pass by it, you see so many people with dog collars on just that store. It just kind of like it blurs. And I've never been in that store. I think you know which store I'm talking about as well, which is the problem. Yeah, so it's like I've never been inside that store. Don't want to go in that store. It's a bit like out of the world, a bit out of there for me. It's like
Do you know what a furry is, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know.
Local supermarket. He does the full costume, like the mascot costume, and I see him in Asda all the time. He just wanders around picking up bread and.
I have never seen.
He always has melons as well. He's always getting like honeydew melons and like watermelons and stuff. I see him all the time.
Corey's looking very confused.
Sorry.
Yeah, did you say furry or fairy?
Furry. So he wears a massive dog like mascot costume.
Right. Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's like.
I walked past his house once and went like, hang on a minute. Like, just saw a big costume. This cab there, and I was like...
Yeah, he's got a wolf one, a dog one, and like a what did I get?
Of the water. This doesn't make. Anyway, Chris is like.
This year, this just want to be a sexy novel, you know?
yeah, sure. I mean, like,
A Repo costume.
Dandelion to furry.
No, I don't know.
In any case, the costume is. Sorry. Because the way the E is kind of like that weird.
It does look Slavic.
I wasn't sure where this film was going to be set or what's the story, the style of this film. This is not. I wasn't when I was watching this. I wasn't quite sure where it went as a story. I thought it was going to be like, oh, so he's gonna like. So he's got Charlotte there, and he's gonna take over her body for Margot, maybe for like blind match or something. I was like, is that what's gonna happen? I didn't quite get where it went. This is like, as an opera or as a story, it had its twists and turns, and it made it kind of like semi-interesting. But it was like, oh, okay, that's not what I expected, but it's within the realms of like possibilities. Then you had like, I guess is it right to say that the grave robber is just the narrator, or does he actually? Yeah, okay, because like he saves Shiloh, but I was like, you feel like he's just like the narrator character. So I don't know if that's like, again, part of the story of how it.
But he's also like an influence in it, I guess, because like the way he pops up in her life constantly is kind of like he's watching out for her, but it's just to progress the story, if that makes sense. So it's like the narrator is helping like turn the page, kind of.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he is helping the story along. All right, that makes that makes a bit more sense.
She's in like tents that she shouldn't be in, and then he can go in, and doesn't make any sense really.
Yeah. It's just kind of like that Jiminy Cricket kind of thing, though. Like it's more like the influence to explain as you're going along.
Yeah. He's her conscience.
Yeah. He explains most of it to her as it goes along. Yeah.
Right, how are we doing? Excellent. That's more or less what I expected. Are we done?
Everyone's so over this.
I mean, like, there's nothing really else. Like trivia questions. Like I think usually Emmanuel would bring them up, but he's got his sore throat. So like the ones that I know is like, I didn't realize it was the girl from Spy Kids until I clicked on her. I was like, oh wow, that's
really. Oh crap!
Yeah, I just didn't realize it was her until I went, and I was like,
Oh,
she
wow.
kind of looked familiar, but I was like, I wasn't sure because this film is filmed in a like it's dark and it's kind of like bad lighting, where Spy Kids was filmed in like sunlight, so it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's kind of like you don't quite see like different lighting styles. And the second thing is, the director didn't actually want Paris Hilton because he didn't think Paris Hilton could act, and she had bad rep. So it was kind of like,
correct.
yeah, but supposedly he saw her like do the actual a performance of it, like, and she was dressed to, like, I don't know how to explain it. She was dressed for the part perfectly, and he saw her sing, and he said, yes, this is perfect. So it makes me question his ability to be a director. So it's a question of like, oh, so you thought Paris Hilton was bad, saw her perform and act badly, then thought, yes, this is perfect. So, I don't know. I guess it's like this. I mean, like,
It makes you question how purposely bad it was supposed to be then. Because if he's going, no, she's too bad of an actor, and it's like, isn't that kind of the point that everyone's a bit shit? And then he sees her and goes, no, she's brilliant. And then it's still shit.
Yeah,
Actually, change the lines.
she's she's not, she's not taken very seriously. She's kind of cringy in real life to me, so she fit in pretty well for this.
Yeah, she's not a great actor. She's an alright singer, to be fair, but she's like not in this.
No.
But, like, but,
we will know he's
yeah,
not here.
cool. But like, she is not a good actor. Like in House of Wax, she's terrible. I was so chuffed when she gets killed, and then yeah.
Right. Any parting thoughts on Repo! Exclamation mark the genetic opera?
Not good.
It not
Goodbye.
do you want to try and make a stage play version of it again? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If there was an actual stage play version playing, would you guys go watch it?
No.
100%.
Okay.
I'm probably have to present.
I'd
Maybe.
make Alec watch it.
I'd rather forget this part of my life. I'm ready to do that.
Well, I've really enjoyed this call for, what that's worth. I realised we had to suffer somewhat.
But like, speaking of like bad movie rounds, I need a break. I need a breather from like this Christmas.
You've had one. You've only had one bad film.
You missed. You missed one of our special rounds where every film was bad.
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to have the stamina for that, guys. I don't know. It's hard.
Nah.
Apart from Pat's film, weirdly, that one was quite good.
What was this?
End of Days. That was pretty cool, I thought. Arnold Schwarzenegger versus the Devil.
Oh, yeah.
I quite like
that one.
like
Yeah,
that one.
I like that one.
There was, to be fair, that and Howard the Duck were probably my favourite two of that round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Room was still the worst.
The Room is
Yeah, the room is just.
And to be fair, Ben's wasn't bad either. I forget the name of it.
Trog.
That's the one.
Trog.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Yeah.
No offense to your uncle.
Sort of.
Yeah. His uncle's Trog. He is the Trog.
The true
Yeah. You know Trog.
Yeah, Timmy Trog. That's his name.
It was The Room, Shark Boy and Lava Girl,
Oh, yeah.
Trog, Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, actually, I quite like that one.
And
Yeah, that's
The room was. Ugh.
Yeah.
Like that.
then it was End of Days and Howard the Duck.
To be fair,
How I can do
this
that.
film is probably level with The Room in terms of how.
Oh,
I
I
hate it. It's
don't agree with
incompetent.
that. The room is way worse, and like Disaster Artist is just as bad, to be honest.
Oh,
But,
to be
like,
fair,
I kind of like Disaster Artist because it was kind of like really poking fun of itself in its own like twisted way. So it's like, yeah, I kind of get it, but like The Room is just.
Painful.
I honestly don't understand how that film got so popular.
Because people are trolls, and it's like going, I didn't do it. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I then decided to watch Disaster Artist after the call for the room, and I got about 40 minutes in, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take £3.50 and throw it out the window. I ain't finishing this.
Yeah,
What a
I mean, like,
disaster.
Sorry,
it was-
nice trivia about that scene. The oh hi Mark, that one that took about like 20 goes.
oh yeah. Because I have watched the Disaster Artist as well, and I've seen how they do it, and I was like, it makes in its own twisted way, it makes fun of itself, and I find that like kind of funny in its own way because you can see like the pain that they did to make this painful movie, and like seeing like it's like looking at like a behind the scenes of a behind the scenes, and it's just like, oh, it's a very like introspective of it, and it's like, for me, I found that quite funny, but like I guess not everyone else found it funny because
You can read the book. The book's not gone.
what, there's a book?
The guy who's the secondary actor of The Room. He wrote like the whole story basically.
Wow. Okay, that's
How long did it take them to write it? 20 minutes.
I think they just kind of wrote
Maybe less.
went along really.
Yeah, so however long it took to film it.
He actually, to circle back to where we began, that there was a bit where Tommy Wiseau's character was going to be a vampire, and it was going to end by him getting in a car and flying off into the sunset. Kind of. So,
Like at the end of Grease, where the car flies.
It's the greasy vampire.
oh man.
anyway, thank you very much for enduring this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was not completely like unexpecting some people to go, I didn't finish it. Like,
Yeah,
No, I'll.
we did.
If it's a pick, I'll finish it begrudgingly sometimes.
It's like
if we get a chance to pick more, I'm picking just like, bad musicals just for Cat.
oh.
Guys, I'm making an announcement. Today is my last film club day. See you later.
Oh.
It's all right.
I'm sending them to into the post, just like.
He's had enough.
I'll get these bad films through the post like Alex sends Jam.
He does send a lot of jam.
Oh.
Especially to me. I think me and John have got the most Jam letters.
But your toast tastes delicious. Oh, we've got.
Did you say my toast or my toes? I'm a bit worried.
Oh no.
You know what? I'll leave that for you to decide. Right. Ironically, it's actually Emmanuel's pick next, and it's a double bill.
Oh no.
Oh.
And just in case people don't know, for different reasons, I won't be here next week, and neither will Rob and Rachel for completely different reasons.
Oh.
Rob and Rachel have a prior engagement, and I've got early start Sunday, so I can't be here. But Ben's going to make my announcement next week.
Okay.
Cool. So, Emmanuel or probably Camilla, what's his pick?
What horrors do we need to endure this week? What?
Oh.
The lamp? Oh no. Why is it empty?
Oh, we've just gone to cat mode. What is it?
Yeah, why is it empty? Where's the pig?
What is it?
I'm going to try and speak a bit. So, the two films are both about daughters and the relationship within the family and what they go through. So, I would recommend to watch it in this particular order, and you'll probably realize if you look up the film before you watch them. One of them everyone should probably know. The other one, not sure if anyone's seen it. But the first one is Hope. It's a Korean film. And the second one is Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh, I wanted to watch that one.
Oh, I haven't seen either of them, but I think it'll work as a double bill in a way. But as a heads up, Hope is very heavy. Very kind of it's not, I don't know, it's not necessarily caping him, but I don't know, maybe it's worse in some ways. But it is a really heavy film, which is why I suggested you follow it up with Little Miss Sunshine, which at least should leave you with a good taste in your mouth.
Wait, Emmanuel, is this the 2013 film, right?
Yeah, it's based on a true story, actually.
Okay, because sometimes it's called Wish, depending on which language barrier you use. So it could be Hope or Wish. But it's the 2013 Korean film. Okay, cool. That's it. Oh, it's on Netflix. Okay, cool. Okay, that's at least I know where to watch it.
Guys, I actually forgot we forgot to do a section.
What was it?
It's nominations for the round. Yeah, we're doing them like in real
Oh
time.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Christ, that's a true point. We haven't thought about that, right?
Give me 1 second, I'll have a look.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
I'll do that.
So we've finished the special guest round.
That's
So-
the special guest round.
oh, that's true. Thank you, especially for the ladies here. Thank you for participating in our madness, and like, thank you especially for adding to the madness that is this little club. And well, I mean, like, I think you guys, I don't know if you'll be like regulars now. I don't know how this is going to work. So hopefully we can see like more variety of films.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, sorry, Corey, Camilla, are you aware of like nominations and stuff?
I've heard of them. I don't know how it works though.
Okay, so basically, you have to nominate. There's like kind of like people go by different criteria, I guess. But usually it's sort of like you can give 1 point to a film you feel like possibly didn't get like the total score you were you might not think it's like reflective of its quality or something, or your favorite of the round, or like kind of just what have you. The only rule is you can't pick your own pick.
Damn.
So, I know.
No one.
Okay, so I pick one of the films from the round and add a point to it.
Yeah, so the choices are Swan Song, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ghost, Lost in Translation, Defending Your Life. Or, if you feel like it, Repo the Genetic Opera. I won't hold my breath.
Yeah, so you just tell Alec what film you want to nominate and he'll add a point to his little table.
Yeah, it doesn't go toward like the main scoreboard, but like it's got its own little bit.
Points.
Mine is a pretty easy one, to be honest.
Swan Song was good.
My point will be going to what Emmanuel just said, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's 2 for that film, because me and Emmanuel both nominated it.
Oh, if that's the case, do I want to choose something else instead?
Nah, let's go clean sweep, Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was easily the best film.
So you get like a bonus if you've gone above like a certain threshold. So you get 1 point for going above 8.5, and you get 1 point for going above.
The person that's the most happiest outside of Corey is Ben, because he's getting all these points.
No, screw it. Because you guys chose Everything Everywhere All at Once.
So
As much as I do love the film, I want to choose Swan Song because it needs to have a nomination. Because
Yeah,
I need to like even out those points a bit more.
yeah, Swan Song does definitely deserve it. It was a very well put together film. I'm really annoyed that it's an Apple TV film, because I'd actually like to own a copy of it.
Yeah, that's.
But
I mean,
this goes back to my little rant the other week about streaming.
yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those things. It's kind of like, well, nowadays, actually, because people nowadays are making, like, what was it? steelbooks of certain films. So like, hopefully we can get one. Like, what was it? Because like some of the Amazon stuff are getting like steelbooks supposedly. Like,
to be honest, I don't see this one getting it because it's not got enough exposure.
It's one of those silly things, right? It's because like Arcane, which is well, I guess that's anime, is like it's from Netflix, but like it's getting a steelbook.
Do not call Arcane anime. Fuck you.
Anime studio, I guess, is probably the best way to describe it. I guess
it's an animation.
Okay, but because it's got so popular, there's actually a steelbook that's coming out, and I think, oh yeah, that's cool. But I just wish, you know, other movies could get like a steelbook collection or something like that really makes it like, you know, special, because like this, you know, studio is just like making streaming money, I guess, but it's just like
we're quickly getting into an era, and this is going to be the same case for video games, where we're going to go completely digital, and I hate it.
It's weird, right? Because like I like certain physical copies of certain games, like because like some games you can play digitally and it's fine, but some games I just want to keep, like a lot of my RPGs are just like holding it because you can just play it again and again and again essentially. So I just can't imagine it. Like for certain games, like I don't know, for like let's say all your Dead Cells and like Demon, like or your Elden Rings. You could play that like online because it works that it plays online, but it's like everything else is like, unless it's like a shooter or a like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd support ripping digital copies onto a disc.
Well, I mean, is that like, without making it sound weird, is that legal? Because like, admittedly, you own the copy because you own the digital copy.
Technically, no. I think people only jump on it if you try to sell it.
Oh, right. That's
so
true.
Like,
that's true.
It's like, you know, when we were teenagers and we'd be going home from school and there'd be just this one person with a bag full of pirate DVDs selling them off for like £2 or £3. It's kind of that sort of thing.
So you can actually, like, you can get in trouble for actually just owning them in the first place. So you're allowed to rip like copies of your personal stuff, but anything copyrighted. But I think they did it like to someone they had like a search warrant for his place for something completely random, but they had nothing to get him on, so they arrested him for actually having loads of pirated films, and that's how they actually got him like to be arrested. So then they could find the evidence that they needed for something else or whatever, or like get like another warrant or something. But it was
weird.
Yeah. But it's actually illegal to have pirated films in your home.
That's crazy.
I better throw all these out the window.
I don't think anybody cares that much. Like, technically it is illegal, but it's just one of those things where unless you're trying to sell them, there's not a lot that it doesn't hurt anyone per se, so they don't really care. But
just reminds us that all the kids watching, don't do drugs. Because if you've got pirated DVDs, they'll get you on that. And if you do drugs, you might end up making what we just watched.
Well, I mean, like, I guess it's the challenge for like the newer generation that have like access to 3D printers. Can you now download a car? It's just the question, because if you have a 3D printer, you can print car parts essentially. So if you can get enough of your 3D printer to download the car, I just want to see if that's possible or not. It's like, you know.
So people are already making guns out of 3D printers. Some guy already did all his own orthodontic care, so he did all his braces and like tightened them all himself out of his 3D printer. People already do 3D print parts for cars. But I think it depends on what you can 3D print it out of, because obviously it has to be wearable enough to withstand the heat that a car makes. Yeah. But people they're already 3D printing bones and stuff. So instead of having like metal like hip replacements and stuff, you can have a 3D printed one now instead.
Okay, let's start with, if we can 3D print a bike, then we'll go from that to a tricycle, then we'll go to a car. If we can 3D print a car, it's like we'll see how it goes. How many generations?
If you can 3D print a car, you can 3D print a tank.
I'm sure you could. To be fair.
I mean, you could technically. I mean, like you got like model tanks, so I mean, you might be able to. We just see how big your 3D printer is.
And I've seen like a cement printer, a 3D printer, and like it was building like a house essentially. It's just bonkers.
Yeah, they can do bricks and stuff like that, and they can do pipe work. I think the biggest issue with it is that anything that they manage to 3D print that's really durable is really heavy. So so if you have things like a car and stuff, obviously you want it to be as lightweight as possible, but withstand whatever you're trying to do. So I think they're trying to do it out of like some kind of carbon, like kind of like, so it would be like metal, but so it's like doesn't melt in heat or anything like that, but it's lightweight. So the similar kind of ones that they do for bone is what they're trying to do for manufacturing, like machinery and stuff.
Fascinating. Sorry to for the really abrupt subject change, but it's calling back to Alec. I nominate a Swan Song.
Yeah, good choice as well. Yeah.
Did Simon also nominate Swan Song?
Yeah, because like to even out from everything everywhere all at once. Because I mean, it's a great choice, but it's like it's got to even out those points just a little bit.
Ben, what are you nominating?
What were they again, apart from those two?
You got Swan Song, Ghost, Lost in Translation, Defending Your Life, or Repo the Genetic Opera?
Oh, I say Life. That gets my vote.
All right, excellent. Rachel,
very happy.
Camilla?
Rachel,
Ghost.
I didn't think anyone would vote for that.
I don't want to blow your mind a second time, but that was actually my nomination.
Oh my god, I'm level with everything everywhere all at once. That's not right. Someone vote another one for that.
No.
And
Well,
I don't think we'll get that from Rob or Rachel either. They might surprise me.
Rob was pretty cold on Ghost, wasn't he?
My call cut out when I didn't hear Ben's nomination. What was it?
He said Repo the Genetic Opera.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey.
What was it? For
One
Repo?
song.
It was
Defending Your Life, is what he said.
yeah, Defending Your Life.
Oh, okay, cool.
Life defending.
He was very passionate about it, that's why he forgot.
Defending my pick.
Lovely. Okay, well, yeah, then two more to
So
go.
it's a 3-way tie at the minute.
What's what for?
The 1 point.
Which means
Oh, that's the aggregate thing, so...
one of them can't win,
You get 6 points.
but two of them can.
What do you mean?
Rob and Rachel can't pick their film, so that's not going to improve on its 2 points, but Everything Everywhere All at Once and Ghost could win.
That's the way the cookie
Or
crumbles.
we could have a real turn up for the books and they both vote for Defending Your Life.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah.
Or we can make it. Yeah. Or we can make it a 4-way.
Opera.
Oh, they both vote for Lost in Translation. No, I mean like then it'll be like a 4-way. So yeah, it'll be good either way. I mean, you have some great and an interesting pick this round. So it's like we'll see how it goes for the next round. And like
For the
how
most part,
everyone-
like I've enjoyed the films this round.
yeah. You ladies have chosen some interesting films.
Reput that.
To be fair, like I was hoping that this would be something like Repo Man
Yeah.
or the Jude Law one because I quite enjoyed that on a level. But
To be
I watched
fair,
that, I was like,
yeah, Simon said about like Reaper Man and stuff like that, and I was like, I expected a lot of people to assume it was anything to do with that.
yeah, like when Alex said it was a musical, I was like, musical version of that. I'm not too sure how it worked, but we'll go with it. And then the more he kept saying how bad it was, and then I went online and there was like sections of people saying how bad it was, and the sections that loved it because of how bad it was, and then I watched like clips and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, you're in for it now. Well, because like I think I showed this film to Alec when we first met, like somewhere within like the first 2 years or something. But
Yeah.
it was just one of those things, and like I never expected it to be the kind of thing that I would pick for this. But I think there were so many, I don't know, like normal films, and it was like something really bizarre needs to happen. Like,
Well, you're 1 for 2 because the other one that we spoke about before the wedding, which
yeah,
Camilla picked,
and I live in.
yeah, I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
But
That
this
is,
one, no.
again, a bizarre film. I have so many more other weird films, and I'm like, oh, with this and this, and I'm like, none of them are going to go well.
I can't. Yeah, I still can't
I'm
believe you.
very apprehensive, Ebony, when you say stuff like that.
You don't want to watch The Skin I Live In.
Oh, yeah.
All that this is going to achieve is to make Simon outdo you, and I'm scared.
That's a question in itself, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, like, my bad list is bad. So
Boa versus Python was bad enough.
it was funny, though.
Python was pretty special.
Yeah. But it's like, how many, like, it's like bad to be like, it's not well made, and it's bad to where it could be such cringe that you just feel like you should die. It's like, you know, it's just depending on like what sort of bad it is, because like bad is relative to each person. But generally speaking, on my list of bad films, we're all bad for at least a couple of reasons. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Starts with a film called The Loss of Pasta, and it's about a priest.
Why do you have that? I have that as well.
Oh,
But there's a bit in that film where they could not afford to make a car explode. So as the car's exploding, you get it from the priest view where he gets blown across like the thing, and then it pans to where the car should be, and it's just written on the screen, car exploding.
Explosion, yeah.
Because they couldn't afford to actually have a car explode in any capacity.
Yeah,
it's that bad.
Because there's like,
I need to see it.
There's a whole selection of those particular films. It's like Philosopher Pasta, then it's like something about like a priest who's like a gorilla or something. It's like there's a whole like genre of those sort of films.
My boyfriend
So we
and Triceratops and stuff like that. Yeah.
I blame those bloody sci-fi shark films that we had back in the early 2000s.
Well, Sharknado is comparatively better than the
No,
films
it's not Sharknado. Sharknado was quite late on. The giant shark, Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus.
Oh yeah, those ones.
That's a
That was crap, but I've
so
watched
good.
it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. It's something that we all used to watch when we used to get like hammered after like our exams at uni and stuff, and everyone used to come bring like one of those over, and we'd all just watch it and be like, it's so mind-numbingly excellent that we can all just relax now.
I remember I had a mate in school that said, "Oh, you need to watch this." I was like, oh, "Okay." I was like, "What channel's it on?" It's like it's on Sci-Fi like every night. I was like, "Okay, I'll go and watch it." I go home and I would watch my hour of Dragon Ball, and then it'd be on afterwards, and I'd be like, "My goodness, this is terrible, but weirdly addictive."
Yeah.
No, actually, no. That I think the film that's on the top of my bad list is probably one of like the worst films I've ever watched in my life. I feel like we'll get to it eventually. I mean, like it's not exactly a badly made film. It's just the worst film I've watched in my life. It's just like, you know, it's well made.
Don't pick Dragon Ball Evolution.
No. But there's I mean, that's bad for other reasons. Like that's okay. Let's not go there.
Competence.
I think some of you know what my like worst film ever. If we did do Bad Movie Round 2, this would definitely be my pick, and it would probably knock everyone else's out of the water for just how bad it is.
This is not a competition for whose film's the worst.
There's different kinds of bad. Like, there's bad that could still be like enjoyable and entertaining. It's just this past movie wasn't it for me, but
but like it had the possibility to be, but then you've got ones like The Room where it's just too painful to be in vicinity of.
Yeah,
There's
I agree with that.
kinds of bad.
Yeah, there's a whole different sort of bad, isn't there?
And then there's
Yeah.
the kind of bad where it's so disgustingly, like, I don't know, brutal or just like gag evoking that you can't physically like stand to watch without vomiting.
So, like, Film Club has had sort of 3 levels of bad for me. So, like, you have this one, which is intentionally bad. Then you've got The Room, which is incompetence bad. And then you've got...
Oh, what, this is Pat, you cut out. What? Is it like low budget bad? Was that what you said? You said The Room was incompetence bad. Then is you cut out?
Oh, Antichrist is what the hell?
Okay, what the hell? Okay, what the hell? Okay.
After that film, I've put Lars von Trier on under my hack list, so I've tried to not watch anything with his name on.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like,
you were going to pick Nymphomaniac at one point.
That's a bad.
As a laugh, but then Rob said, "Do you realise that Lars von Trier made that?" I was like, "Well, off the list it goes." I think that was supposed to be as a retaliation for Love Exposure for being so damn long.
Naturally.
You haven't watched that yet, damn it. I put the DVD now.
You make sure you've got nothing to do because it's like 6 hours long.
Oh, I had to go take a hike in the middle of watching that. Like an actual hike. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, I need to get outside and I need to go walk this off for a bit. And then I came back and I was like, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And I was like,
all right, but yeah, okay. But for now, I know I've watched Little Miss Sunshine, but I gotta find where to. Oh, it's a Netflix, isn't it? All right, let's go. I think it's a bit late for me. I gotta get to work tomorrow as well. So I'm gonna say goodbye and good night, and we will see each other next time.
Yeah, see you next week, guys.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Did we record all right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Unfortunately, my internet connection got a little not great a couple of times, but overall, I'm pretty sure it's working good.
Amazing. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no problem. It was good. This was an interesting introduction to you.
it was lovely to meet you finally.
Yeah, very good to meet you too. Okay, well, this was fun. Fun call. More fun.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Catch you later.
Good night.
Get well soon, Emmanuel.